Well, we had a fantastic 2v2 Cold War gunfight tournament that just concluded not too long ago, but now we're moving into more of a present day and age where we are moving into 4v4 Vanguard Call of Duty. It's the grand finals for the NJCAA Vanguard finals, and my name is Proper. Joined with me is Enigma, and we have Gogebic going up against Laramie in our grand finals for us here, Andy. It should be a fun time.
It should indeed. We get some Vanguard. Obviously, that is the game that we're currently on and seeing through in the pro season. So lots and lots of this covered recently by myself and, of course, you. So, yeah, familiar territory. Don't get me wrong. We know a lot of Black Ops Cold War, but it's nice to be able to sit here and see the game play out that we sit and grind through in ranked. And unfortunately, we're going to start off with some Gavutu, I believe.
Yeah, Gavutu Hardpoint will be the first map. We'll go to a Bocot Surge for map number 2. Gavutu Control is the first 3 guaranteed maps. If this ends up going the distance to maps 4 and 5, we'll see a Tuscan Hardpoint, and then we'll round things out on map 5 for a Berlin Search and Destroy. So a little bit of versatility coming through, barring that you'll see Gavutu twice as far as the first 3 maps are concerned, but it should be quite telling to be able to see how these two teams do stack up against each other, specifically how the weapons are loaded out between these 4 players, what roles are going to be situated between these 8 players in the lobby.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, AR dominance is key here. Your flex, actually, I think, is a very important player on this map because they have to show that AR presence. They have to show some sort of prominence with it. A lot of flexes will fit into that role and then clearly lean one way or the other. You're not going to get away with showing up here with a weak third AR. There are some hills where you can have those 2 SMGs running, thinking around bow, thinking of getting mixy around your P5, but you are going to need that AR dominance over a lot of straight lines that you have on this map.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I mean, that lone SMG is going to have their work cut out for them. Talk about an open lands. Well, think no further. The Solomon Isles are riddled with open beaches, the jungles in the back line as well. ARs, as Andy has already said, will absolutely be the keen focus. Later on in the series, we'll get a little bit more SMG silliness, specifically around map number 2. Everybody knows Bocage. You can typically get away with running 4 submachine guns, so I mostly guarantee you'll probably see at least 1 AR there, but even still, from there out, Andy, it's going to be very telling to be able to see. I mean, we already got to see some versatility coming through between 2 colleges earlier on. For gunfight, things are a little bit more mainstay now that we get in towards Vanguard specifically, once we start to talk about, I guess, the more meta base that it can end up being.
Yeah, absolutely. The versatility here comes in through the tactical side of the game. How do you like to play things? How do you like to rotate into things, setups, and so on and so forth? And you are going to need very good setups here on Gavutu. I mean, specifically when we get to hills 3 and 4, you really need to lock that down if you manage to get in first. And even worse when it comes to 4, if you do get there first and the other team play it completely correctly, smother you into that back spawn, you're then a million miles away from 5. So there are opportunities here for one team to completely roll the other, as we saw earlier with Barton College completely eviscerating Iowa. Do we see Gogebic or Laramie completely run over the other? Or is this going to be a much more contested series? You love great Call of Duty. I love great Call of Duty. So I'm hoping to see an absolute bloodbath of a gauntlet here. I'm hoping to see a big series.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a lobby issue. I believe that one player ended up getting a scanner repair. If you're unfamiliar with that, well, you better get known about it because we know and love a good old scanner repair here in Call of Duty. But as it may end up being, as a man that watches a lot of collegiate Call of Duty through a lot of different channels, I'm not going to lie. I don't know these 2 colleges. Again, these are 2-year colleges that play through NJCAA competition and tournaments that find themselves in grand finals. But it's always interesting and quite telling. You and I spend a lot of time looking at challengers, the tier 2 development for the Call of Duty League that leads up to the Pro Series. But even more so than that, what are their setups going to be looking like? How deep does the playbook honestly run? Because when we do get down to the collegiate level, it starts to become a little bit more of a bloodbath. Just start to run at everybody. Everybody just plays with a weapon that they're a lot more comfortable with. Things might get a little bit weird because not everything is G8. I mean, there's certain ARs, certain attachments, obviously, that are G8. Damage magazines won't ever end up being there as well, but anything almost goes outside of those simple facts. I mean, who's to say that we probably don't end up seeing somebody trying to run one of those high-powered scopes on the automaton coming in towards Gavutu? It's not conventional for you and me, but hey, if it gets the job done, anything to win out for grand finals, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to play to your team's strengths and weaknesses. You can only play out what is in front of you. This is my first time doing collegiate stuff, so I've not seen any of this rogueness on the map. But hey, if it comes in and we get a great series out of it, I'm all for it. If it turns into an absolute bloodbath with 2 teams beating the crap out of each other, I'm absolutely for it proper. We get to cast over that. That is pretty wonderful for me. At the analytical side, maybe I might have to try and piece a couple of things together, but hey, I'm looking forward to some great gameplay. I mean, we've got some good maps as well in order to facilitate a couple of teams going straight gunny on each other. You've already spoken about Bocage S&D, but we've got that Tuscan hardpoint later on as well. That can really turn into quite a bit of a mixer already. You really do start to see some big SMG prowess throughout that. So, I mean, if we are going to see those sides absolutely running and gunning, then let's hope it gets to a map 4 because we could see something special.
Yeah, it'll be quite telling to be able to see if a team is just kind of running at each other, trying to play for all of the scraps, still hitting the hard point when there's about like 5 seconds left over inside the hill, or if they're actually playing for the future for all the scrap time as well. These are the developmental periods, I suppose, where some of these collegiate athletes can find themselves at comparatively to maybe even like the Pro Series or even Challengers as well.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly going to be looking at the Search and Destroys for me personally, Andy. When you're thinking about a lot of collegiate players, they mostly spend a lot of their time either playing S&D wagers or they're playing a lot of S&D tournaments. But if you're a Respawn kid, hey, you might be feeling right at home. And, well, there's one of those very interesting holographic sites off the rip already on the Automaton. Going to be very quite telling to be able to see how that thing is going to bounce about. I mean, the Automaton is the laser beam already, but without further ado, let's get into this hard point.
Absolutely. Well, P1 then. How do we see teams set up? I'm very happy to see Griff and Uper start to set up to control that mid-map. That's going to allow them multiple entries in towards P1. And as the kills start to trade backwards and forwards, you're going to end up with Laramie getting in there. But actually, Hokage has managed to pick up a huge two-piece. We'll get Gogebic into P1.
Gogebic is, we got a little bit of a UI switch. Gogebic is in the red. Laramie is in the blue. So we'll try to get
gotcha
for you when we go in towards the next map. But just bear with us. Look at the colors and the names and just listen to the sultry sounds of our voices. Quick little break does come through. Just battling over the scrap time. 15 seconds of what you're looking at for the end of this hard point. You got to be shifting your focus over towards that P2 hill. Getting top LSC control is going to be a virtue for one of these teams.
It is. And the fact that Laramie have already rotated over into this hill suggests that they need to make sure they set up well here. It's a fine kill out of Biomatics, but Smoke Show might sneak in through the back. The contest will let everyone know that he's there. I like the switch out to take top bolt control because that then opens things up to allow his teammates to try and support. His teammates, however, pushing out through back green. An interesting spot to try and take from. You can get a bit smothered here, but it looks like Smoke Show has got a little bit of something to bring.
Yeah, it seems that way so far. Battling inside of this hard point, trying to at least see where the hit's coming from. It's straight through the front. Dr. Uber will find the first, but Biomatics finds themselves on a force spree. 3 more kills away from getting that ever so wanted glide bomb. Finds Smoke Show and bottom cage. This is a wonderful setup when you're looking at the grander scheme of things for Laramie. Gogebic ended up hitting it one more time over by P1. You did have Laramie that came over here at a late juncture of time to at least get themselves in a position to maybe hold some scrap time, I believe. That the screen has frozen. If not, everything is moving so fast that I just cannot see what's happening.
I'm very glad to hear you say it because it happened to me as well. So, yeah, Biomatics was absolutely starting to heat up there. So was Hokage. So, 2 players very much so enjoying that run and gun state. We did indeed start to see different gameplay compared to what we're used to seeing over in Challengers, but I did massively respect the rotation that came in from P1 to 2. I was then starting to get concerned about the fact of whether or not we were going to get another hit for P3, for P2. I felt that it would have been wiser to set up for P3 at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's no quite telling to be able to see how the future might be able to be set up for themselves, as I believe the lobby did fully crash. So we'll throw things to a small break. When we come back, we'll try to either give you the outcome of that first hard point if it was an observer crash, or we're just going back for a full replay. So bear with us once you will be right back with some more collegiate action. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NJCAA Grand Finals for 4v4 Vanguard. My name is Proper. Joining with me is Enigma, and we had a little bit of a monitor crash on our end, but the game had already been commencing. Didn't want to disturb the players. We just wanted to uphold competitive integrity. It was Laramie County, the community college, that was able to walk away with that win, 250 to 222 over Gogebic on the Kavutu hardpoint. Almost par for the course for how most Kavutu hardpoints do go. Very firm handshaky all around. But having themselves in a 1-0 lead ahead of this Bocage Search and Destroy for us, Andy, it's a nice step to be in the right direction to be able to claim yourself as Grand Finals and champion.
It is, and obviously we missed a lot of the gameplay that went on, so we didn't get to read too much into the individuals and how they performed, and we'll try and take something into this S&D. But Hokage and Biomatics were two in particular that we were starting to see heat up towards the start of that Gavutu, and I'm looking to see, I didn't get to see if he carried on through the rest of the map, but do they bring that same sort of firepower? They looked very happy to get involved in the gunfights, and although S&D can slow down a little bit on Bocage, you can really get up in people's faces if you want to.
Yeah, the best way to think about it for those sitting at home, even if you're new to Call of Duty, what little that you did see of Kavutsu Hardpoint, consider that Bokach, you can fit about two of those inside of Kavutsu. It is a very tight and small affair, even for search and destroy. You have one bomb site that's right next to a building we call Grandma's on top flat. You have another S&D site that is down low over by a willow tree just outside of the tunnel leading over towards the A bomb site. It's one of those things, again, point of contact is almost just about 5 seconds, just about like 10 paces off from your spawn, both defense and offensive. Like, gunfights could be happening lickety-split. A round could be over within the first 25, almost 30 seconds.
Yeah, it really can. And that's even when we start to talk about those more measured approaches that come into things. If what I saw at the start of that Gavutu is anything, these guys like to go in guns up. So I'm truly expecting just a straight war of worlds right in the middle of the map. Would be wonderful to see. If that is going to happen, then taking control of places like Top Grandma's, for example, absolutely imperative. Gives you so many sight lines across the map, lets you quickly fly out to either bomb site in case we do get to the point where those bombs go down. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. And then we've got to find out which individual as well is very happy getting involved in picking up the first bloods, because as we all know from Search and Destroy, first bloods are imperative.
Yeah, first bloods, of course. I mean, comparatively to the respawn game modes in Search and Destroy, you don't get your respawns. So, I mean, working off those first bloods, you're right to bring up that point, Andy. Again, that if you can give yourself that numbers advantage is the reoccurring statement that we also talked about in the 2v2 gunfights. You can just start overwhelming with your numbers. Again, on the defensive side, it means a whole lot more. I think comparatively for the offensive as well, because the offensive team obviously has to make the play. Enough speculation. Let's go ahead and get things on in. Take a look at the offense first and foremost here for Gogebic. Be their offense first and foremost, taking a look at for some barn control. Point of contact is going to come by way of the gate. You already have Hokage just watching that entire angle. Going to be chased down ever so slightly, but a very forward position is going to be held for the time being for Gogebic.
Absolutely, but I think, yeah, I was just wondering. So Smoke Show there nearly lets Hokage slide through. If Hokage does manage to get on beyond that southern side of the map, it becomes very, very dangerous instead of get shut down. There is top map control here from Wolf, but Griff has managed to sneak on through to the bomb site. Is he aware that someone's on the other side of that door?
Doesn't seem so. Biomatics favoring to go for the reload, but now with the bomb being planted, it is in your court to retake 3v4. Got one player slipping all the way through. This was your objective player. Keep in mind, your Griff is behind enemy lines, and Trav needs to be aware of this. Shots are going to come through. Griff cannot find the kill. And the point of interest is actually coming through from Laramie inside of Grandma's. They do take down Smoke Show. Evening numbers, 3v3. You need to allocate 7.5 seconds for the defuse to come all the way through. You still have lurking players for Gogebic inside of the barn, and they are just not giving you any sort of information that you can collect off of Dr. Uper. Damn ketchup. Flex on 2 more kills. What can Wolf do? Well, not much of anything at all if they didn't die from the player up on top barn. Probably the player coming in through the side door is going to confirm that kill. Wonderful offense coming through from Gogebic to start things off.
Absolutely. Get that first blood. Hokage nearly sneaks on through, but in the end, the numbers advantage comes on top for Gogebic. Just to give you some sort of idea here, these figures are, by the way, from pro level, not necessarily collegiate, but an offensive round, you're expected to win 43% of the time. That increases by more than 20% if you pick up the first blood. So as we said, imperative, and you know why coming off the back of that round.
Let's see if Laramie has an answer here. Going for that barn control, as many teams end up doing. Set nade from Biomatics. Over top won't find any information towards that mid-street. That was actually going closer towards the staircase that leads down towards the B-bomb site, where Gogebic actually have more players just looking at. They find a long-range engagement across the map. Trades need to be there. Smoke Show will be taken down inside of Grandma's. You can see what that means for the blue arrows on the mini-map. Both Damn Ketchup and Dr. Uper rotating in towards the back, trying to dissuade the bomb from being planted. Still going down for Biomatics, by the way, and they're actually going to be allowed to get it taken all the way down. It is planted. With the gunfight inside of Grandma's off screen, Griff will take down Biomatics. Post-plant situation, 1v-odd situation. It was not even planted in a favorable position on the opposite side of that seawall. Triple challenge comes through, and that's, again, why we talk about that numbers advantage.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, that gunfight bottom grandmas just doesn't go the way that is needed for Laramie. Gogebic go to OR, but a very, very one-sided setup. They clearly don't want to give up that B side of the map. Happy to let them plant A and then just rotate and retake. I really want to see where Uper had a sight line in the middle of all that. Smoke Show manages to pick up a kill early, gets up in the face of whoever it was that screened themselves into bottom grandmas, but Uper picks one up from miles away. Definitely an unusual sightline somewhere and puts it to full use.
Stats across the board, only 2 deaths to speak of on Gogebic. Go is the player that's been traded out both rounds, but it's okay because you've only allowed those 2 deaths to come all the way through. Very quick hit coming through the middle of the map. Hokage gets aggressive over by A plat, or over by the stairs, excuse me. We'll find that player up on top barn. He lost damn catch-up for the round. That will slow up the offense considerably. They're still trying to toy around with the idea of getting inside of A. Doors will be quite loud. The windowsill will be met with a grenade. Griff won't be able to find a tag, but they are aware that there's a Laramie player up here. Kage is still going rogue, by the way. Found another player trying to rotate through the main street. Crab is locking down the A lane. A clean lockdown setup coming through from Laramie. A must-needed round.
Yeah, must needed indeed. Pulls one onto the board. Hokage going huge. This time doesn't get too over-aggressive pushing up that river, that southern side of the map. Instead, manages to get the first blood and then stays alive in the second engagement. Avoids being traded out. Does a fantastic job there. And then that numbers advantage. If you thought that it was a big thing to have first blood on offense, defensively, it is an almost guaranteed win if you manage to hold on to a late numbers advantage into a defensive round. It's so hard for an offensive team to take it on from there.
More barn control. Rinse, wash, repeat. Damn near for Laramie on this second offense attempt of theirs. That nade's coming over the top. That actually connected along to Seawolf as well, over by this tank formation. So they're incredibly weak. They're just going to hold the line for now. That's going to respect the line coming through from Laramie. Kind of playing longer lines of sight, and Dr. Uper is more than obliged to take that engagement. Takes down Hokage. Ended up going on a little bit of a heater on that previous round. So numbers advantage here, 4v3 in favor of the defense. Griff is in an engagement currently. That was over by the God tank, taking a look at these players that are just isolated across this tank line. Biomatics wants to feel the pressure. They want to get this bomb planted. It was good damage that came through on top of Griff, but can't commit towards the bomb plant. Stops the plant. Hits inside of Kitchen. Takes down Smoke Show. Now you even things up 3 apiece, or so you thought your flank was safe until Dr. Uper came around, took down the bomb planter. 30 seconds remaining, and it's all up to Seawolf in a 1v3.
Crazy bit of back and forth there, just as it looked like the bomb was safe. Suddenly it wasn't, then it was again. Then you get the flank coming on in. That was obviously always going to be cleaned up. Whoever was still up there, caught in the middle of no man's land between a whole bunch of Gogebic players. Yeah, that exchange on the bomb site, just pure chaos, really. First blood goes against Laramie. Hokage caught in it. Hokage, caught in it again. And you feel like he's going to be pivotal for this side because he's regularly involved in those first blood engagements. If he's being taken out, and that's very unfortunate to read on our screens, looks like we've had a little bit of an issue here.
Seems that we might have lost our connection to the host. I'm not too sure if that was the entire lobby dropping or if just the host ended up dropping the game as well. Not too sure what ended up transpiring so far. We did get to see at least a few rounds coming all the way through, but I'm not going to lie, Gogebic definitely seemed like the more adept search and destroy team comparatively to Laramie. We're going to throw things to another short break. Bear with us while we work through some of these tech issues. Thank you so much for watching so far. This is the NJCAA COD Vanguard Finals. We'll be right back after a short break with either the conclusion of the Bocage S&D, or we'll go ahead and tell you what the final score was. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NJCAA COD 4v4 Vanguard Grand Finals in between Gogebic Samsons versus the Laramie County Comets. My name is Proper. Joining with me is Enigma, and we're trying to work through some of these tech issues, so we'd like to thank you all at home that are watching and bearing with us through all of it. But Andy, so far, we got ourselves a tied series. Gogebic were able to take the Bocage Search and Destroy 6-3 comparatively to Laramie, who took the Gavutu Hardpoint 250 to 222.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems to very much so be a case of whoever's starting off strongest. So let's see if that carries on through our other maps. Obviously, in the hard point, we didn't get to watch it all, but it looked like it was the Laramie players, in particular Hokage and Biomatics, who were heating up. When we did come out of that and come back, it turns out that they had seen that advantage out. Comes to the S&D, and Gogebic looked very good, much more comfortable on the map than Laramie. In particular, Dr. Uper looked really good, was picking up some really good sight lines. They were shutting down a lot of those advances, and a lot of the early bloods were going their way as well. We come back, 6-3 victory. So it's whoever's taking that early initiative, putting the onus on them to see out the starting stages of a map that is seeing it out. So yeah, let's see if we continue with that.
We're going into a Gavutu control for map number 3. We're already guaranteed that map number 4 between these two teams. That'll be on a Tuscan hardpoint, but the Gavutu control could honestly be a welcoming sight, I suppose, if you are looking at this from Laramie County Community College, given the fact that, again, with their AAAR setup, they were obviously able to find value going back to the Gavutu hardpoint, just barely able to scrape away, 252-22. But we always expect when two colleges are very, very close for it to be at that close scoreline. Same could be said all the way at the very top echelon of CDL. So let's go ahead and see how things are going to kick off. Laramie will be in the blue. Gogebic will be in the red. So don't worry about what it says at the top of the screen. Just listen to the sultry sounds of our voices. Offense first and foremost here for Laramie. Trying to go for broke. They're kind of splitting the map. 1v3 split. They do have a lot of players over by the beachfront, but no less. Hokage needs to find continuous value pushing through LST. And I mean, they're not losing gunfights right now. They're already over by the B zone.
No, this has gone as well as you would hope for Laramie. They're straight in on B. The much harder site to cap and getting on there and picking up kills as well. They're not just breaking it on in. Some teams like to dive it, get a segment, and then just hunker down and eventually be traded out. Not so far the case. You've got Smoke Show and Damn Ketchup desperately trying to get over there. They will pick up the first kill, but they need to move.
Vulcan play here. Gonna have to see how this can be a full effective gun, and it sure will. Smoke Show will take Seawolf out of the B lander zone for the time being, but 2 ticks of progress already came through, and you can hear that giant siren. They are making progress on over towards A. They do have one player, top LST. That's going to be Trav trying to lock things down, making sure that nobody can get biomatics out from this power position inside of the A zone. They need more tick progression. This clock has been stalled out at about a minute. Finally, Smoke Show gets their way inside of the A zone, gets those players off, but Gogebic or Laramie, are doing a bang-up job at making sure that they're constantly cycling players through, getting these trades out, which is why you're seeing such a steep numbers advantage, especially in the lives remaining.
Yeah, and this could have been even better for Laramie at this point. They've essentially bullied their way through to B, and when they did get into A next, I thought that it was essentially gone. It's very much so a game that looks suited to this Laramie side. They're continuing to just add up numbers. You can see where the hardpoint victory came in from. Dr. Yupa trying to get something cooking. He's on to 2, and he's having to back down from gunfights. We've got 1 segment on each side essentially left, but 30 seconds on the clock.
That's the biggest advocate. Those are your win conditions when you're looking at from Gogebec's POV. So Laramie are trying to split the map. The way that everything is kind of set up at the 50-yard line, more or less, for Gogebic. They are not letting any Laramie players even get out close enough to get towards one of these zones. Finally, they're trying to work their way past the cliff path, but Griff has a great crossfire over by the defensive tank, gets the reload, snaps on a Trav, and now you're just messing with numbers, and that numbers are dwindling down by via the clock. They're trying to desperately work their way towards one of these zones, but they simply can't get there. They can't get the zone captured. Those 60 seconds added onto the board.
Yeah, no, they do a great job of backing that down to Gogebic. I mean, it looked at a moment there that they were going to be in big, big trouble. Gave up 2 segments over at B. It looked like they'd pretty much completely lost A. And for the first wave of offensive retake as well, they essentially completely went down. So managed to keep their composure, managed to hold it together. It is 3 ticks of progress given up, but you would have accepted that considering the start of that round.
3 ticks of total progression. We'll continue to keep note of that going forward. If this does end up being traded off defense for defense, the team that gets the most ticks on their offense will be able to get that round 5 defense. It's normally a win condition for a lot of teams going forward. Now Gogebic on their offense, a lot of pressure focusing over towards the beach. And these Laramie players that were over by LST ship, they've rotated just a little bit too late. Now you have Gogebic players that are sinking their teeth in towards top ring control. Player that is soaking up some of this B zone, that's Griff. They need some help, and help by way they will end up finding. Seawolf needs to go big. Already able to get that first tick of progress is Griff inside of this B zone. Lander, Dr. Huber was also there for the quick stack as well. Some immediate tick progression is still coming through. They have to get these players out of that B. Lander, finally somebody deals with them, but it was almost just too much pressure, too far gone, and too many lives thrown away into the wind by Laramie.
It was, and very importantly, though, here, Griff has managed to pick himself up that strafing run for Gogebic. So an opportunity to open things up when we do come back to B, if we get to that point. But they've now got to put in the solid work at A. It's another two-piece from Griff. He's really starting to heat up. Looks comfortable in the automaton. Trav trying to take it from top bolt control. Finds the first. Can he find any more? Bang for his buck. Lines up the second. Knows the third is present. Does a fantastic job. That was important. If A falls there, it's a long time left on B. With the strafing run available to Griff, that would have been very difficult to recover at this point.
Already seen a Volk, so I'd assume that we're probably going to be still using the strafing run. You're right to highlight that. Hokage going big inside the spawn. These spawn kills are going to be massive. You can see that 5-6 life lead that Gogebic previously had off of that B assault stint. Now been completely fallen off by the wayside. Just 1 life lead now for the offense of Gogebic. They need to try to make something happen because the clock is ticking on down. 26 seconds now remaining, and they got presence over by B. That's going to be Dr. Uper that is stalling out that clock. 26.8 seconds. Also has a nice line of sight over towards player number 3. That's Biomatics up top, and they're going to get overwhelmed by 2 players top ring. So this last tick of progress over by B might just have to be conceded if you are Laramie. They're going to give it a good old scholar's try. Get Dr. Uper off of this B-zone lander. They're doing a good job at least making sure they can test that last tick of progress, but all off of those efforts. Also have some Gogebic players trying to assault over by A. 20 seconds remaining.
This has been a very good passage of play for Laramie. They regularly pull back scenarios where it looked like they should essentially completely throw it away, but it looks like Bolt will go the way. That A point will go the way of Gogebic, and with a 1 life advantage in hand for Laramie, they're going to have to play some stellar defensive Call of Duty at this point, already down when we come to the tick count.
One tick of progress only required at B, so you would assume that Gogebic just need 1 good wipe. Be able to get over towards that B zone. Stack it for that last tick progression. It can go up pretty darn quickly. The trades are going to be your answer, as you were saying and highlighting, my friend. The lives remaining are definitely in favor for Laramie on the defense. Smokeshow was able to work their way in towards the back, and it seems just given off of the minimap alone that Hokage feels spidey senses that somebody has slipped the net, and it is red quite wonderfully, but Smokeshow, 1 HP, still gets away with that kill. The strafing run gets called in, and now the B lane has completely opened up for Gogebic. They have that 1 life lead. Smokeshow is still going massive in towards the back, has player number, or at least kill number 5 just right around the corner, but they don't know which angle to look at, but it doesn't matter. Everybody was so focused on Smokeshow over towards the back, the rest of Gogebic worked over towards that B zone, and they fully captured the last tick of progression. They walk away with an offensive round win and a 2-0 lead in this Kavutu control.
All too simple, really. I actually thought it was a complete waste of the strafing run. The fact that Smokeshow was in the back there, you didn't need to use that. He was already throttling out that bottleneck, just holding it, putting a complete clamp around it, and making sure that no Laramie player could end up pushing through. But it won't matter because the round goes to them anyway, gives them a sizable advantage. Laramie have to go big and answer back. That AR presence just not working for them right now.
Need an answer here. And let's call a spade a spade. You have to win an offense, probably 2. Want to win this Kavutu control. Immediately shifting their focus over towards A. Previously to their last offense, went over towards B, but nobody's watching the flank. Smokeshow, hello? Yeah, I mean, he was moving so incredibly still that he was just camouflaged into the tank. I truly believe him. Give him the benefit of the doubt. First tick of progress, though, over towards A, regardless for Laramie.
Yeah, I don't know what that play was. I was very complimentary for a second in my own brain about how Smokeshow had managed to wrap himself around through P1. Does a great job and then completely gives up a free kill. Griff opens things up with a 2-piece, just trying to stop this boat push. This is much better out of Laramie, by the way. 2 ticks of progress come in. A looks like it should be just about a fall, and that should be all she wrote for this. Now, as well, with the fact that Gogebic continued to push up, they've not got a solid setup. You can see that P1, the anti-aircraft weapons part of the map, where Biomatics is right now, a super important part for B, is in Laramie control. Gogebic need to stop this.
Yeah, but you still have damn catch-up. Kind of living up to their name, I guess. It's raining over here by the beach is what I'm getting at. Finally, will be traded out over on that northern beach side. The lane has completely opened up. As you were saying, that is such a big focal point over by top ring. Player number 4, Hokage, is actually going to take this as an opportunity to be able to flood all the way over towards the back. Trades are coming through towards the middle, and now you just have to somehow collapse over by this B zone. But still, Hokage is in your back spawn. There needs to be an answer for this individual. Back here, Dr. Uper will go down, but Hokage is still finding kills. He finds himself a full 4 clean kill feed, and now the B zone can start tacking on over.
Hokage goes on a 6. Hokage's on a 7, ladies and gentlemen. Completely cooking it up. Bullies Gogebic back into the back of the map. Looking good. Has the glide. The rest of the boys are on the point. And if you wanted to answer back proper, this is how you do it. This is how you finally get yourself going. Never mind, because Smoke Show apparently is just going to walk in completely unchallenged and pick up 2. So all of Hokage's hard work stemmed just for a moment. 90 seconds to go.
Still have these 2 streaks if you're feeling the ante to be able to call things in, but you look at the clock, you've got 1:22 left to find either 10 kills or that last tick of progress over towards B. The mini-map as well, Hokage is trying to convert over towards a back green push. The other 3 players here for Laramie are trying to push through top ring, but oh man, I gotta tell you, that heady over by that pillar back there by the B lander is just a strong one to be able to fight up against, and that gives a lot of time for Smoke Show to try to work their way back up towards top ring. The glide bomb gets called in. It will end up finding 1. So now you can start working your way towards the B zone. Biomatics is in. You gotta get this kill. Unfortunately, gets an auto mantle. We see a lot of players falter towards that one. 11v7, 55 seconds remaining, and Gogebic are just lasering all of Laramie down.
Smoke Show going huge again, managing to just claw on by his fingernails to that B point. Biomatics doesn't check his left, just about stays up. It's actually going to be Smoke Show giving up an important part of the map. He should have cleaned that first kill up. That should have been nice and tasty for him. 9-5 life count, 30 seconds to go.
If your run gets called in, you need this answer. You need something to be opened up, but it doesn't come up with anything. All of Gogebic are just holding the line. Trades are not going to be good enough. 2 for 1, 2 for 2 now goes the kill feed. 7v3. You can now stack this B zone. You know there's one more player in here, but this is still very doable for Gogebic. They don't have the numbers. They're letting the engagements come to them. Inside the lander, Dr. Uper overwhelmed. You gotta go now if you're Griff. He's the last player alive. The last tick of progress is working its way up, and he's met by Trav and an MP40 Laramie. Just barely stay alive with the Gavutu control. It took both their streaks to do it. And a massive showcasing coming out from at least one player on their team. But they are at least going to see another round here in the control.
I should have been far cleaner after all of Hokage's incredible work in the back. His Smoke Show, actually, who answered back so much for Gogebic, did a really good job of just forcing out the entirety of that. And you also get the investment of the glide bomb having to come in. I didn't hear a strafe, so I think that is still active in there somewhere if we do see them used. Not sure if we are. But if you look at that scoreboard, Smoke Show taking over for his side and keeping them in a really good spot.
Let's see if that good spot can guarantee themselves an offensive round win. If you win this offense, much like to your previous, then you're going to be able to walk away with this Pro win 3-1. Presence over by A. You still have both Damp Ketchup and Dr. Uper at least trying to work this A zone, but Hokage is continuously going rogue, finds themselves yet another 4 spree, work their way towards another set of streaks, pushing up over by the cliff path, still fighting kills, by the way. Now on a 5, 1 kill away from getting themselves that strafe run, and they're catching players from Gogebic trying to work their way over towards top ring. Now on a 6 free, looking for more spawn kills. You do have one player, keep in mind, you for Smoke Show, that is currently working over by that B zone lander, and this is all the distraction that Hokage needs. He's behind enemy lines. This is the blind trust that you want to see from Laramie to be able to deal with the players inside the B lander and kind of feed Hokage that 7th kill, which I do believe that they found. So another set of streaks coming through for them.
There's a lot of things that you want to checklist when you're playing Control. A lot of things that you should make sure you do as you systematically work your way across the map. And that P1 needs to be held by someone. It's been in Gogebic hands for a long time. Laramie will finally get control of it, finally clear it on out, but it has meant them essentially completely giving up the A point. This will be a Hail Mary final stand defense. Glide bomb coming in. Connects. And all of a sudden, you do have that A site being held onto. Just held onto.
You gotta continuously use these resources, you would feel like. I mean, as it currently stands, it is 9v6 are the overall tick progression. If you could somehow deny this last tick to come all the way through, then somehow, some way, going into a round number 5, Laramie have guaranteed themselves a round 5 defense, but the pressure's still here. You gotta deal with Griff. The trades are coming through. Top LSC control is also here for Gogebic. Nice snap and read coming through from Griff, but the trades are simply not there. Biomatics lines up too, but the A zone completely gets converted, and Gogebic adds 60 seconds onto the board.
That's fine, though. Allows Biomatics to back on up and get a hold of P1. Giving up A is okay. If you do enough damage to the opposing team, it's not a problem to really worry about. But this is the important point now. Can Biomatics lock this down? Picks up one. Picks up the second one, despite being under the stun. And Trav provides that mid-map cover. Now Hokage's got an important part to do here in holding green. And actually, if Smoke Show manages to slip on through, and it wouldn't be a bad thing for him to not take that engagement and instead just wrap in around the back and cause problems at Red Tower.
Hokage is also looking to do the same defensively, just going rogue. Finds one player in towards the back, and to be quite frank, Griff and Dr. Uper were still hanging out over by the cliff patches, waiting to see if Smoke Show was going to be able to work their way in towards the back. They did. They're going to be able to at least take down one in towards the back.
Okay,
3 kills do come through in quick succession. And they also found the roaming SMG player that is a Hokage. That has been the thorn in their side the entirety of this game so far. Working up this first tick of progress. 2-player stacks. It'll go up pretty darn quickly, but the kills are starting to tally on through for Laramie. They got to deal with these 2 players inside of this B zone. If this last tick of progress comes all the way through that first tick, if you will, then that means that Gogebic will get that round 5 defense. You know that they want it. They are already able to confirm it. Trades are not there inside the B lander. They're still working up this tick progression. Smoke Show with the Volk finds the next player outside of the lander, and they're going to be able to at least get that trade. 5v1. I don't think Damn Ketchup can go God mode. If they do, honestly, I will eat a sock, but I just don't see it happening with 15 seconds.
I will happily... Come on, Damn Ketchup. Oh, I would have paid a lot of money to watch you eat a sock. That would have been absolutely wonderful. All of a sudden here, Proper, we have a 2-2 game. We have a tiebreaker scenario on our hands. Definitely not the way I saw this going just moments ago. And again, I've got to give props to Smoke Show. He looks like he is super, super comfortable. 36 and 25. And by the way, Griff, 35 and 26. Those two looking really, really good, putting in some serious work and have dragged their team to having this defensive tiebreaker round.
71 eliminations between the two of them, comparatively to about the 26 of the other two. So yeah, I would definitely say that they're having themselves quite the field day. Look, Laramie, you won the last offense in a crazy stride. You're going to have to do it again, but they're not having as stellar as an opening as they once previously did. The trades are starting to come all the way through. Damn Ketchup is just playing an island on their own, pun intended, over there by the ring, mind you. And their teammates, the other 3, just lost all their gunfights over by A. Single file line. It's not going to be how you can work your way back inside this A zone. You saw Hokage just went on another 7 spree up in the top part of the UI. Got themselves yet another glide bomb. Second tick of progress has already been tacked on over inside the A zone. And this is where you just got to chalk it if you're Gogebic. Just give it up. Try to set yourself up for a B defense.
I fully agree. They've got to get themselves set up well here. And I like that they've got 2 in green and then 2 in and around P1. Actually, here we can see Damn Ketchup getting a little bit aggressive. You don't really need to do that at this point. Just set yourself up nice and tidy. This can be a very difficult map to get yourself across if the defensive setup is good. Hokage pushed himself onto a 40 bomb for the round. And he has 2 streaks in the back pocket. Going to call one in. Looking to break this P1 hold because, again, this is so important. You managed to cling on to this as the defensive side. And all of a sudden, it just slows everything on that side of the map.
It almost felt like that you wanted that glide bomb, though, for when these players actually got across the beachfront, but it might not even matter. I mean, you still have Trav inside that top green position, as you were talking about. Strafing run is also going to be called in across that B street as well. The kills need to be here as well. The pressure needs to be cleaned up upon as well. Hokage will find one of Smoke Show. There comes the kills. Trav is into the backline. Gonna be watching some players spawn up, but needs to go absolutely rogue, and they can't even find one. Griff will find that trade. And there's only one player, that's Biomatics, that's able to work their way over towards the B zone. This needs to be a focus if you are Gogebic, because you are down in lives. You have to be able to at least respect that one number that you can see on the UI, just like we can here in the Codcaster. They are able to get that player off the B zone. But the crossfires are just simply not set up sufficiently enough for Gogebic to be able to get these kills before Laramie can get across the beach side. Finally, a clean kill feed starts to manifest itself here for Gogebic. They will hold the space for now with 55 seconds remaining.
Massive kill, by the way, in mid-map from Griff. He was pinned down for so long underneath Hokage's Reign of Terror, but manages to get up, chow him out of top LST, remove him. That then opens up the cut and the waves of defensive reinforcement to get in there. It's huge, and we end up with Laramie essentially pushed all the way back, having to retake so many of the checkboxes, and Hokage, the man again, going huge.
It's in the back. This needs to be a trade, and Damn Ketchup's going to be able to find him. 28 seconds remaining. You can feel like this is the last possible push. Needs to come all the way through. And Smoke shows trigger discipline. There's no one to his left. He saw, he looked. After he found that last kill, on a 6-3, one more kill away. Will get himself the glide. Goes prone, finds some damage, wants to chase it down. He wants this glide bomb. He will find it. going to go ahead and put himself inside the ring. He will call in the glide bomb. We'll see that there's 2 enemies right next to him. And these 2 enemies, they're not going to clear him out. He's going to end up cleaning up this round almost single-handedly. There is not enough time to work away all the way from P4 towards that B zone. And Gogebic, don't worry about what I just said on the screen. Laramie just lost that 3-2 off some heroic efforts, I'm not going to lie, to force out a round number 5, but Gogebic will take the swing map mode here of Gavutsu Control, take a 2-1 lead in the series.
I mean, it absolutely was the Smoke Show in the end. You've got to give plenty of credits to Griff, but Smoke Show going absolutely huge, 48 and 29. Looking at a scoreboard, I really feel for Kage. Guy got drops 46. I think that his nearest 2 teammates combined don't even put that together. But yeah, we have a situation there where several individuals trying to take over for their team. It's Smoke Show that really started to string something together there towards the end, a crucial moment to lock down P1, and he does fantastically. Really, really did a great job.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was everything. When you really feel for that offense, when Smoke Show was able to get their way in towards the back with the bulk, they find themselves about a 4, if not a 5 piece. They get themselves a good set of streaks, starts doing it defensively as well. Sniffs out that one mid lane presence that just was not being watched by Laramie. There at the final ends, those final few seconds as well, with an automaton no less, shoots 2 players into the back and did not get any sort of, I guess, like visual PTSD that the last time they tried to do that defensively, there was just 1 player to the left of the tank. I'm going to go back and rewatch that later. Maybe they didn't see something. I truly believe that in that moment, that dude was just maybe a T-Rex. He couldn't see in between his own eyes. But whatever it may end up being there, Gogebic again, they take this 2-1 series lead ahead of the Tuscan Hardpoint, and you would have to almost feel that this would start shifting in Gogebic's favor, given what we were already able to see just ever so slightly from that Bocage Thirst and Destroy, ever so slightly both from Griff in that Gavutsu Control, that you do have 2 very strong players with Griff and Smoke Show able to get their hands dirty, able to go rogue at certain moments of time for this Tuscan Hardpoint. Laramie, they need to have not just one answer of Hokage to answer back with the pressure, you would assume.
Yeah, I think the straight up phrase is someone help Hokage. Like, he needs someone to join him on the slaying prowess. Doesn't matter how good your rotations are and the rest of the way in which you play the game. If you're getting bullied across the map that badly, the fact that they were even that close towards the end of that one just shows how they are playing some good Call of Duty. But we play an FPS here. You have to be able to shoot your gun back, and Hokage feels like the only one really able to match the firepower that Gogebic are bringing right now. So that's where it needs to come in from. We spoke about this at the top of the show. We spoke about this map at the start of the series, and we're saying we can see sometimes that there's a very gun-up style in collegiate Call of Duty, where we've just gone from a map where it's very AR dominated. We shift to Tuscan, where it can be far more balanced, if not start to see a lot of those SMGs come through. Your flex perhaps moves on to an SMG, and you run 3 across the map at points. So that then could change this whole dynamic. Do we see players be more comfortable in the sub, and do we see the tide flip a little bit? If Laramie are going to see themselves on the podium at the end of this, they need it to happen now.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it, too? Because we didn't get to see much of the Gavutsu Hardpoint. I mean, we may have saw just the rotation from 1 into 2. The break potential was there ever so slightly for Laramie, but we didn't get to see the outcome, which, again, was 250 to 222 in Laramie's favor. That it could honestly be suggesting that they were almost trading blow for blow, the breaks for breaks. Some of those will not be as potent. We do get to this Tuscan Hardpoint, which we're loading in here very shortly for you folks. But, I mean, I guess it could almost be just cut and dry for us, Andy. Do you truly feel like that the team that outslays the other just might be able to walk away with this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so hard in this game to be completely outslayed and outclassed on the gun skill side of things and manage to come out on top. The only times we ever see that is when you get perfect rotations and perfect setups. And so far, I don't have anything here that suggests that we're going to get that. It's a lot of, okay, even if the team gets in first and gets himself relatively set up, there's a lot of break and back and forth action. So if we are going to see Laramie do that, then we're talking your money hills. We're talking like your essentially this spawn point here, your P3, where you've got to really lock it down. Well, all the talking, let's get it over with proper. Let's find out how this goes.
Gonna have to see if Laramie can have an answer. Gogebic did start off on the favorite side, and what I mean by that is that they just have the immediate head glitch that can overwatch all of Ruins, and they can get towards the monument side, but you got to be careful of the U pressure. And I mean, Hokage is in here. You talk about SMG pressure. There he is. Smoke Show will at least get that trade, but numbers advantage for the return over by P1 will be there for Laramie with ample time to play for it.
And it's just complete chaos right now, but it's all going to go in favor of Laramie. Just double checking that the names are the right way around this time. I believe not.
They are.
Gogebic is pushing them back. Sorry, I'm trying to just line up my names for a second there as we had them changed around last time around. But it's that man again, Hokage, who is heated up straight away, up to 4-1. The rotation will be in, but Griff here could play spoiler. In round the back, could flip those spawns out, could cause a lot of problems.
Griff is back here, needs some help though. Looking to at least get some more spawn presence to be able to maybe get some closer spawns ahead of the column hill. Will not be successful in that, still forcing out numbers in towards the back. Damn Ketchup trying to pick up where Griff was trying to align in towards the pressure, and it's all just feeling like it's isolated engagements. I mean, you got Gogebic players trying to flood in towards the back. One player just comes flying off the top patio. It's just simply not going to be good enough. They do have closer spawns. That is just outside of church, over by you, just where the previous hard point was, and all of Laramie are actually reading this quite wonderfully. They seemingly have not lost a gunfight, and I want to say in about the previous 10. Smokeshow will get some early damage. Will finally get that kill onto Seawolf, but their position is more than scouted out. The pinch is in, but you're playing for just 15 seconds, and that'll mean that Laramie will spawn closer towards 3.
Yeah, absolutely love it, by the way. There's no spawn here, by the way. Biomatics and Hokage have rotated the entire map down opposite flanks and cleaned everything out to make sure that they get in for this massive hill. This is essentially the big money hill on the map. You get a good setup here. It is so difficult to break on through. Trav, with a massive gunfight top, fire, wins it, reads it, spots the one out on tiles. It's going to have all the information. And this is now, all of a sudden, becoming a bit of a steamroll situation. If you don't see Gogebic get in here, Laramie could string up a massive lead. Biomatics puts 3 together and puts himself on 5.
Now you gotta hold it from the front. Because you ended up seeing that Damn Ketchup was rotating over by rooftops, that's where the spawn is now for P3. But holding from the front will be viable if you can win every single gunfight. Now it's all up to Trav to go godlike over by this head glitch that they have by the fountain. Can only find one before they're fully traded on out. But the job is done. When you're thinking of this from Laramie's perspective, you had contested so much time after getting the initial here on 3. You denied Gogebic even having the closer spawns to break in from that side of rooftops. Now you can comfortably play for the rotation towards 4.
A big fan of the early rotations, by the way, that are coming in from Laramie at the minute. Smokeshow picks up the read. Glide Bomb obliterates absolutely everything in sight, but it will be Gogebic who've managed to get here. And I spoke before about someone needs to help Hokage. He's finally got his bit of help. Griff, currently 0-9, needs to start to find his shooting boots. All of a sudden, we have this church being massively contested from all angles. One getting in late from top church will be Biomatics. Picks up one. Wolf will arrive for the pinch, and Biomatics will clean that out again. So just as it falls seemingly into Gogebic hands, Laramie break in.
Break back in indeed. 30 seconds to play for here on P4. You know that Gogebic with these closer spawns want to try to recontest this one more time, but the stuns, the nades, the information, and everything else in between are just so good for Laramie. Kill feed constantly bleeding in red. Even when Griff seemingly had themselves a favorable gunfight, Hokage just rock bottoms them through the floorboards of Church. 14-5 on a 4 spree. Looking to get themselves more streaks. Can't find that player that was top Church, that Smokeshow. We'll get that trade, but again, you're just playing for about scrap time. You're allowing Laramie to spawn all the way out to find that perfect time to lose the gunfight. They should be in for the initial time here at 5 unless Dr. Uper has anything to say about it. They simply cannot. Griff trying to work their way back in along with Smokeshow. Stun grenades also killing Vanguard, keep in mind you. But Smokeshow is in a power position. Through this rotation to the bottom side of stairs, we'll be able to find the 2-piece for their early break here on 5.
Manages to get in there. Very important. Don't get me wrong. This hill is just scrappy from start to finish. You got to go into it absolutely guns a-blazing at all times. Speaking of which, Griff finally starting to put some on the board. Finds his 3rd of the afternoon. But the rest of the team are here. And Biomatics picks up a big 3. And it's only his teammate that can eventually bring him down. So despite the hard work the Gogebic do to break themselves into this hill, now we look towards the end of this first set of rotation. Basically neck and neck. At one point, I really thought Laramie were going to run away with this, and the second half of these rotations has been pretty bad.
Yeah, it really has been. It's the contest going back over towards 3, the scrappy P4, and all of P5, really, when you're thinking about for Gogebic breaking in for about 45 seconds of hardpoint time. You'll see that very small lead, just about a 7-second differential in between these two teams. We take a look at some of the stats on top of the screen. 18 and 13 for Smokeshow. Griff, as you were saying, not exactly having the sexiest game in the world, triple negative 4-12, but needs to start heating things up here now as Biomatics and Hokage are having themselves a whale of a game, much like what we saw over by the Kabuto hardpoint. Split across the board here over by P1, but Gogebic were able to get themselves about a solid 20 points off the early time. So Laramie need to hit all the way through, and hit through they absolutely shall. 3 kills come through in succession, and now Gogebic are looking to concede the rest of this time. Maybe send a player to finesse for some scrap time. They have to maintain the spawns ahead of 2.
They do, and both gunfights, by the way, in the mid-map are lost. This opens up so much now for Laramie to perhaps bully on through. They get the kill out in Ruins, and they get the kill that allows them to open up U as well. So they have so many different routes, and actually, I think both Gogebic players go above Biomatics. Biomatics is going to slide on through. He will. No, damn Ketchup catches him. Okay, that could have been problematic for just a second, but we're okay. And just for a moment, Gogebic might get breathing room.
Still have a lot of mid-map presence when you're thinking this from Laramie, so Gogebic need to clean up these players. Do not allow them inside a church, and Smoke Show says, I will not proper you. They are not getting inside a church for free. Snaps onto one in the front door, but Hokage is still able to slip the net, gets up top, does not clear left. Griff was holding that angle, finds himself an off-screen 2-piece. These are great kills when you're thinking it at the grander scheme of things that Gogebic have now had an unanswered 30 seconds on 2, and they're also finding a lot more pressure through the middle of the map. But one player has already gotten by. Trav is back here. That means that squad spawns have ensued, and all of Laramie are spawning in towards the backside of church, but you gotta win the gunfight, son. And Laramie just simply have no answers. They're trying to work their way inside the hard point, but Gogebic have an answer on every single turn.
The problem is with Trav hitting it so late as well is that it puts Laramie towards the wrong side of the map, towards the end of the hill. In the end, it won't matter too much because Gogebic stayed around to contest that, but Griff is here, finally starting to look a better player, finally starting to bring the heat that we know that he can, and allows enough time for Smoke Show to arrive. So they clean out Laramie and will now have opportunity to set up. It's a massive gunfight up top, and it's that man again, proper. Smoke Show looking so good, locking down top fire.
About to be an almost one-dimensional hit when you're thinking about Laramie. Look at the setup. Biomax is also able to get themselves that strafing run. It has been called in. For you for 1 HP, he will go down by way of the strafing run. It will take down a teammate as well. Someone has to deal with Griff. He was 3 and 12 last time that we highlighted him. How about an 8 and 4 turnaround? 11 and 16 in total now for the hard point. 217 to 145. There's not enough time for Gogebic to close it out here to reach that 250 score line, but they're going to put themselves damn near close off of a money hill than what we're seeing.
Oh, they are. They're within touching distance of seeing this out. And if they do take this, they are your champions. They are going to take all of the bacon out of this one. Dr. Uper just looking to find a creative way into church, and he's actually found his way in. He's found his way around the back of one and opens up this hill because that will just for a moment relieve any pressure for Griff, who comes in through Ruins, picks up a kill, and this is going to shift that whole Laramie defense around, and they're outnumbered.
Only essentially give up 5 seconds, a minor of perfection. Laramie need a lockdown hold here on P4, which you can tell by the canter of my voice is not exactly easy to do. You have so many different doorways to watch, but Dr. Uper taking down a teammate by way of the nade is at least going to clear one of the angles up for Laramie to have a stalwart hold. Still hitting it from grass, though. We've got 2 players threatening it from the back. It's Griff. It's Damn Ketchup. They also have help from Smoke Show. But from the hit from the front, Dr. Uper can't come up with anything at all. Griff doesn't know which way to look. Smoke Show's hitting it from the side door. The kills need to be coming through, and the trades are not there to follow. Laramie are spawning so far out. Gogebic are in. They will get the final points needed, and they will be your NJCAA Vanguard champions.
Absolutely fantastic there towards the end. I was starting to get a little bit concerned. Gogebic were just throwing themselves in one at a time. Laramie were just snaffling them up. And to be honest, you only needed one big break to come on in, so I understand why. But I respect monumentally the Gogebic decided to go, okay, boys, this isn't working for just a second. Let's slow it down, take a collective breath, wrap all the different entrances that Church give us, and collapse on in. And although there was that moment where it looked like Griff was kind of like, where do I even aim? He actually buys a lot of time and shifts players around. Smoke Show ends up coming in to help, and they clear it out and take the map, the series, and the championship.
Yep, taking that championship, collecting all the bacon, as you wonderfully said in that rotation, going over towards 4, my friend. It really just was a big old turn, a domino effect, if you will. Look, again, we got to sing the praises of Griff. Going in towards that second set of hard points, dude was 4 and 12. He just ended 17 and 18. You want to talk about an immediate turnaround to be able to be that effective player, to be able to help out Smoke Show, who again was going constantly rogue on the map. That was it right there, man. It was a big turn of the tables, if you will, going back over towards P3, where they were just playing that half-wall head glitch. It had no immediate answer. The strafing run even got called in for Laramie, but Gogebic back-to-back big-time hills there on P3. The breaks were also coming through in succession. They just seemed to be the better hardpoint team, specifically on that Tuscan today.
Yeah, and we can sit and talk about your Smoke Shows and your Kages all you want, but I'm very glad that you pulled up Griff there, because that start of that game was Terrible. He was really, really going through it. He was in a blender, and it's very easy to lose yourself in that. And then you alluded to that P3 where he gets in. He rotates in early. He's 1v3. He manages to buy enough time for his teammates to get in, do enough damage, has that composure. If I was to start a map 4 and 12, I don't know if I possess the minerals in me to have that kind of composure. So yeah, wonderful stuff out of him. He comes in, supports his teammates, bolsters the push, and it's off the back of that hill where they really opened up the map, really locked down a whole chunk of change. So kudos to him and props to Gogebic, who come out on top.
Samsons will be your NJCAA champions. Commiserations to Laramie. They put up a hell of an effort, specifically almost that reverse sweep that we saw happen on that Kavutu control. We're going to throw things to a very short break. When we come back, we will have an interview with one of the Gogebic Samsons players, so don't you go anywhere. That interview is right on the other side of this break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NJCAA. We had just concluded both our 2v2 gunfight, and now our 4v4 Vanguard Grand Champions will end up being Gogebic Samsons. I am joined with Enigma and the entire team of Gogebic Samsons. They're all standing. Look at them proud in their jerseys and their facility. Gentlemen, congratulations. That was a hell of a performance, I'm not going to lie, specifically on that Tuscan hardpoint. In the same could be said for the Kavutu control, where, Smoke Show literally lived up to his name, put on an entire Smoke Show. My first question to you all, you guys can almost, like, pass the torch, I guess. One person could answer as well. It doesn't really bother me at all who does end up answering. Talk to me about how you guys ended up coming together, if you guys ended up, like, scouting out to be able to get a team together, or if it's just a bunch of group of guys who just love Call of Duty, who then got together to be able to make a stacked roster for collegiate Call of Duty.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for having us. But yeah, our team is a little bit of a mixed bag. A lot of these guys are locals. Obviously, they're all Call of Duty lovers. We put together the team. It wasn't totally scouted up. We put in the work and lost in the semis last year, but we're excited to bring it back. And we put in the work for this one this year.
You guys were absolutely superb out there, by the way. Congratulations. And those jerseys are fire, by the way. They're absolutely lovely. I've got to ask, so you come into your grand finals. You spoke about how you lost that semi last year out. When you go 1-0 down at the start of a series, what's going through your mind? How do you hold your composure? How do you bring yourselves back into that?
I've been absent probably first round of playoffs, so I wasn't going to let one map just throw it away. I mean, we've lost a few maps throughout the series. That's no big deal. Hardpoint's usually our strongest. I don't know what happened, but I mean, the second point of the hardpoint was us just frying, so I wasn't too worried about it coming back on the second map, especially bow cage. Just fry.
Love it. Just fry. Love the confidence.
I mean, with that all being said, which one of you guys is Smoke Show? I can't see names on the back of the jersey. That's you? Wearing the hat? Dude, what the heck did you have for lunch, man? You were dropping bombshells throughout the entirety of the maps that we ended up seeing. I mean, when it's all said and done, I mean, you can answer truthfully whatever you had for lunch. I mean, maybe I might go get some for dinner ahead of my ranked games that I'm about to be playing following this broadcast. But even still, what truly is your drive? How long have you been playing Call of Duty for? Is there any aspirations to continue on with competitive Call of Duty, or is it just the collegiate athlete mentality going forward?
Right now, I'm just looking at collegiate right now. I got a few offers from a couple places that I'm looking at. For breakfast, to answer that, I had 3 pancakes. Coach brought us out for brunch. Delicious, let me tell you. And I went to bed at 5:30 in the morning, woke up at 10. I was ready to go.
That's the athlete's diet right there. That's the athlete.
Something in that Michigan air for sure. I mean, hey, again, congratulations, big time for you all. But I mean, I hope to see more of you all individually. Smoke Show, I hope to say whether those opportunities continue on for more collegiate Call of Duty. Andy, you got anything else?
No, congratulations. I mean, you guys were absolutely fantastic. I unfortunately haven't had the pleasure of getting to cast over you guys before, but getting to watch you all today. I mean, the fact that some of you dug so deep, coming back off that 1-0, Griff coming back off of 0 in about 15, you guys were sublime. So really good. Congratulations. Do go out and enjoy. And if coach treated you to brunch, I mean, sure there's a championship dinner in there as well.
There might have to be.
Ooh, hey, you got to take that one all to the bank. Just one last thing before we end up signing off here, guys. Anything you want to say to any fans, any family watching at home, or any fellow students? The floor is yours.
I mean, I'm proud of our team here. Obviously, we put in a lot of work over the course of the year. We've scrimmed 1 to 2 times a week. We try to do more. We got CCL teams that we're trying to scrim. We're just playing ranked all together. I don't know. We're just trying to put in the best work we can. Hi, Dad.
Love to hear that, guys. Thank you guys so much for a fantastic day of competition. Congratulations again on the chip here, becoming NJCAAE 4v4 Vanguard champions. I hope to see more of you guys in the future.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. That's going to go ahead and do it for the rest of this broadcast, but we are not done with esports as a whole. Call of Duty may be where we are tucked over and where we are going to be at least throwing things away for the evening so far, but there's tons of more competition that are going to be settled on in, as it typically does end up happening for collegiate athletes throughout a multitude of different esports. Thank you all so much for watching. On behalf of all the production, myself, Andy, this guy, Enigma named Andy, make sure that you go ahead and see what we're all up to at the end of the day for more Call of Duty Collegiate, Challengers, and even CDL in between. Overwatch starting over at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you are there for LaFawn and Big Hungry Phil to walk you all the way through the action. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.